Today, in this Ask the Author session, I have the great pleasure to host Professor Mazen Noureddin, who will present the work entitled A Phase 2 Randomized Trial of Survodutide in NASH and Fibrosis, published in the New England Journal of Medicine in June 2024. Dear Mazen, first, congratulations to you and your co-author for this important paper. Can you tell us what are the context and the background for this work?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and it's a real honor to be with you today. I've watched a lot of, the videos before, and I'm glad to be here. As you know, this paper is really important in MASH as a metabolic disease, and a lot of people are using now GLP-1s are dual, and survodutide is a dual GLP-1 glucagon um, agonist receptor. So um, it makes a lot of sense to do such a trial in MASH patients after doing it obesity. GLP-1, as you know, it has an effect on weight loss, and glucagon has direct effect on the liver. So that was the concept of this randomized control trial that was conducted over 2 years period, which I'm happy to go into.
So what was the design of the study?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it was a randomized controlled trial in MASH patients. The MASH patients had to have a liver biopsy. It's of course you need an S score of 4 and higher, and the fibrosis stage was F1 to F through to F3, and there were four arms, three on the drug with various doses and one on a placebo. And the three doses of the drug was 2.4, 4.8, and the highest dose 6 compared to the placebo. There was a titration period to get, as you know, the drug so you can avoid the nausea and vomiting. And then the maintenance period on these medications, which was up to 48 weeks. So the patient got biopsy at the beginning, biopsy at the end. They were randomized to one of these drugs, and they also get MRI PDFF, which was one of the secondary endpoint. Around 290 patients, roughly 73, 74 in each arm, including the placebo.
And what was the main results?
It's actually, if you look at the analysis, is quite extensive. So in summary, I think the primary endpoint was NASH improvement without worsening fibrosis, which is 2-point improvement. Again, that's pre-specified in the protocol, and the results were between 43 to 62% of patients had this improvement in MASH compared to 14% of the placebo. But again, this is phase 2 study preparation for phase 3. So what I would like to draw our audience attention actually, it's the supplement of figure S9 and S10, which is what we look for in phase 3 studies. And here, uh, I'm going to mention the improvement in NASH without worsening of fibrosis in all data patients, and that was up to 63% in the 4.8 milligrams. So the range was between 38 on the low dose to 63% compared to the 15.2%. Again, this is NASH resolution. There was also a difference in fibrosis improvement by more than one stage without worsening of NASH, and that was up to 44.2% compared to 21.5% in the placebo. I mean, there were different kind of analyses in these studies. For instance, the secondary endpoint primary PDFF was up to 76% of patients improved by 30% compared to only 16.5%. So very appealing results all over, regardless if you look at it as F2, F1 to F3, F2, F3, you look at all data, intention to treat, paired biopsy looked amazing. So it gave a lot of rationale. Of course, a lot of weight loss and drop in ALT about 38 units in that study.
So based on these results, how do you would say that survodutide differentiates from other drugs in development in NASH?
Yeah, I mean, I could be biased here, but I'm an investigator and I'm invested in this program. But I think it's one of the most remarkable drugs that we have seen thus far. I mean, some metabolic drug lead to weight loss, but they did hit both on NASH resolution as well as fibrosis improvement. As you know, like we're all waiting for instance for the semaglutide phase 3 study, and then first their phase 2, the fibrosis did not achieve statistical significance. And we can go into that in details and the high placebo response and all this. But and this drug already showing you fibrosis improvement and NASH resolution in their phase 2. So it's a very, very promising drug for phase 3. There are a lot of GLP-1 and glucagons in the pipeline, like pemvidutide and other drugs by Merck and others. So those seems to be very promising because of the glucagon property on direct on the liver. And as you know, like tirzepatide is a bit different. It has the GIP in it that also looked promising in different publication. So it's very exciting area to be in, a very exciting field. If you remember, like a few years ago, it was like a pessimistic field, and people were like, "We're not getting good results, and the biopsy is too difficult." Now people are getting the studies done, are getting the biopsies done, and reaching histological statistical significance in their phase 2. So I think the future is bright.
Well, thank you, Mazen, for having summarized so well this study and to share your passion for this work. Thank you very much.
It's an honor to be here, especially with you, and thank you for having me.